Hello everyone. How are you guys doing? We have few more days left till Christmas and we are so excited to start the new year. Yes, I am so excited, guys, for 2021, aren't you? I mean, we're gonna start a year which is full of excitement, about discoveries, about collaborations. It's the energy is flowing. That is amazing. I am personally very excited. I can't wait. Anyhow, guys, I'm also going live on Facebook for those of you who would like to join me on my Facebook. Sudi Burnett, Sudi_Burnett. Join me on Facebook because Tara is going to come up today. You know, Tara is going to be talking about the issues with teens. So it's going to be a pretty interesting live. What are you guys doing as parents, and how do teenagers feels about your behaviors? Okay, so some people were waiting for this live to come up, and today is the day. By the way, guys, I'm gonna start every Mondays because I promised you guys that Mondays are going to be the energy reading day, but I have decided to go live on Thursday. Thursday is Christmas Day. And many people, they brought it to my attention that because of COVID and all this stuff, they're spending the Christmas Day alone. I am one of them, and I got invited to go to some friend's house for Christmas. But then I thought, I'm sorry, my workaholic programming is still active and I have so much work to do, so I'm going to stay home for Christmas. And then I'm spending Christmas on my own, and I want to be very clear about what are my intentions for 2021 and do the leftover works that I haven't finished up. So that's how I'm spending my Christmas. But I'm gonna buy myself, I gotta go grocery shopping to get myself some Christmas dinner and make it very beautiful for myself. All right? Yes. Hi Zorajan, welcome people on Facebook. Okay, so if you want to join me for Thursday live, Christmas Day, I'm also doing energy reading on that day. So it's going to be our first live where you can ask me your questions about your soul journey, about your life path. It's going to be very intense. So don't worry about it if this Christmas is not very Christmassy. We are making it an amazing Christmas. Hi Bezajan, welcome. All right, so basically, guys, the intention is that we find our true selves and we go beyond our boundaries, we go beyond our disabilities, what I can do or what I can't do. We're gonna go way beyond that, and we're gonna find for the first time what are we capable of doing. But before we are even going to that route, we need to backtrack and be very clear and specific about why am I here? What's the plan? Where do I want to go? What do I want to create? So because of that, guys, we're going to do some meditation, maybe guided meditation. I don't know what I'm going to do on that day because, you know, I always work on real time, and whatever comes up at that time and I get guided at that time, that's how I'm going to go about it. So this is not pre-planned, okay? So we're just going to go with the flow. When we all get connected to the higher power, to our higher selves, and our higher selves would guide us how we should do this live, all right? Anyhow, but beforehand, what's the day today? Today is December 23rd. Please, if you haven't, sit down and spend that time to be really clear about your intention. What do you want to create? Where do you want to go? And writing down the plan, please do it today. And remember, first step is that we have to be clear. Have a clear and crisp vision about where we're going. What's the movie? What are we creating? Why are we creating that? What are we after? And then remember not to get tricked by your ego mind, who's going to tell you you need to achieve this and this because it's going to make you feel better, or it's going to give you identity, or you're going to be seen and heard. No, don't go by that. You need, when you do this exercise, you need to really come from a heart place. You need to be aware of your mind ego. You have to set it aside and you have to sit down and tap into your heart, and you should come from there. What really makes me happy? What gives me joy? And why? And why do I need this? So if you see that is not really a creation, and there is a reasoning connected to that, oh, you're going to do this and this because people have more respect for you, or you're going to become famous, understand that is not really coming from your heart. That's coming from the ego part, which we don't want to be going there, all right? Sarjan, tell me when Tara is joining me, because I keep seeing people joining the live, but I can't see. I don't want to get behind. Yes. So today when I woke up with this amazing dream, and I want to share that dream with you guys. I woke up and I remember, last night I was dreaming. And of course, if you guys have listened to my online course, the first class, Who Am I talked about it there. I said, I woke up in the morning and I said, I was dreaming. And then I realized that I woke up from one dream and entered another dream. So don't you ever forget that it's all a dream after all, okay? But anyhow, this morning I dreamt that every single human being had turned out to be a bird, and there was no other species by birds on the planet Earth. And as I was checking out all these different colorful big birds, small birds, and this stuff, I asked myself, I said, so what happened to all those humans and other animals and all of these things? And then my ego mind started to think that something is wrong with this picture. And I was like, oops, so did everybody died? And my mind was going around. And all of a sudden I heard this God-like voice that said to me, he says, no, nobody has gone anywhere. Nobody has disappeared from planet Earth. This is just a picture of humanity and all species to join and merge and become one. This is about oneness. And then every bird had popped up into a human, into an angel, into a cat, into a dog, and it was just a message that, oh, whatever we're seeing out there, first of all, it's a part of us. And we in ego mind, when the ego mind is active, we just make everything different. Is that separation from oneness. So at this moment, I would like all of us to sit in to this feeling, this oneness, and see how we are not different from any other species out there. We are the animals, we are the grass, we are the ocean, we are, everything is one, and everything is happening within us. And then once we become and reach this space of oneness, how much more powerful do we feel? And how would our action be different if we all won? So we all help one another to better ourselves. We all help each other to be one, to progress. We all realize that as human beings, we are just one. Hi, Tarajan.
Hi, Sudi Burnett.
I am amazing. I am amazingly great.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yes, thank you. So take over, Tara. Tell me, what are we talking about? What's happening with these teenagers and youngsters? What are they complaining about?
Well, for personally, something that I noticed that a lot of people my age struggled with as a teenager would be parents. Like parents would normally have issues with how their teenagers behave, and teenagers had issues with how their parents behave. So that's always been a really big issue that we've been going on and off for. And a lot of the teenagers, I didn't personally experience it as much, but I noticed that a lot of the teenagers would get counseling even because of how they felt like their parents were treating them unfairly. So that's one thing that I thought Sudi Jun would you would tell us more about and how you felt, and then I would also contribute.
Okay, so I think generally it doesn't matter if this relationship is teens and parents relationship. It doesn't matter if it's couple relationship. I think the basic problem starts when we don't understand one another, because we all coming from our own lenses, right? So since I'm coming from my lens and the translation of my mind and the way my mind is creating my reality, someone else is coming through their lens and the way their mind is making up their realities, right? So understanding, the first place, I always say, first step is awareness. In awareness, everything dissolves, right? So when I'm aware that every single human being on this planet are coming from their background, from their beliefs, from their upbringing, from their behavior, blah, blah, blah. And we are different. We don't try to make someone else to be like us. See, because many relationships, the issue starts because we're thinking we want to change someone to become like us. And if someone else is different, they thinking differently, they behaving differently, they're emotionally tapping to different thing, we make them wrong. And in order for us to feel good, we want everybody else to become like us, right? So these are two different lenses, teens and parents, two different lenses. There is a different generation. There is totally different DNA, right? Because as teens are, their DNA is advanced. My generation is one generation behind you guys, right? So as we move on, every generation, the DNA becomes smarter, sharper, more sensitive, more aware. So understanding that another dilemma is here, that parents don't understand and don't want to accept that new generation, it's a more advanced generation. So maybe I should upgrade myself to them. What they're trying to do, they make them wrong and they want to back them up to get to their level. So now they feel more comfortable. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
Yes, it does. One thing that I noticed that like a lot of teens and parents use as an excuse for in their struggle is age, like
Uh-huh.
exactly what you mentioned, like generations. So like parents would say that we're older than you, you have to listen to us. So like that's one thing that like I noticed in your what you were saying is that it's completely right. Like age is an excuse and is a reason
Yeah.
into like that contributes into what goes on with this issue. Um, I personally think that there needs to be a balance. Like, I told you I moved here 6, 7 years ago, and where I came from the Middle East, so parents had say in everything because they're older than you, they're more experienced than you, they are your parents, so you listen to them automatically.
Mhm.
Here though, it's the opposite. Like parents listen to their teenagers, and if they don't, um, there are gonna be consequences. Like and you know, like in America, they have a lot of different types of crimes that even come up with like child abuse, and like those type of things. And like they're teenagers, they've, as you said, they've become smart enough that like they try to defend themselves with those like lawful charges against their parents. Like they threaten their parents a lot of the times and they're like, oh, you're abusing me. um what I found out is that both ways, both parents kind of like putting their children down and bringing them down, telling them what to do doesn't work completely, and also children putting their parents down doesn't work completely either. Like there needs to be a balance, because I always believe that there needs to be a certain respect. Like you need to respect your parents in order for your parents to respect you. And if that
Mhm.
respect is mutual and it's upheld, then there are gonna be less consequences and less problems. Because like once that respect tips off, then like someone's gonna feel that they're being treated unfairly, and it's gonna create those consequences. So Sudhijun, what do you think on this subject?
Yeah, respect is the basic in any healthy relationship. It doesn't matter what. Setting boundaries is extremely important, that we set boundaries. But first, it should be respect, mutual respect. And if from what another part, let's say you're really respecting your parents, but your parents are not respecting you, then the second step will be boundaries. Setting up boundaries, because the majority of us have issues with that. What is okay and what is not okay? You know, I can live by this, but no, absolutely, I cannot live with that. So setting boundaries is the next step. But I personally believe until the old generation don't upgrade themselves, we're gonna have major issues, and we're gonna keep on damaging the new generation and the new generation to come, right? So especially, yes, I mean, for the part that you said American, they listen to their children. Well, we cannot generalize it in that thing, because we do still have some Americans who come from an old school. They have old school teaching, and they still stick to like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. But for majority of Americans, I could say it's they come up to give more freedom to
Yeah.
their children, and then it gets to a point that they give their children freedom. I have seen that because I do many coachings with parents issues with children, and once they give children or teens that freedom, they held back because they feel like the children or the teens are not following up the rules, or they don't have the respect that they should have. So in this comes an issue with parents that they back up again, and they're looking, and I said, they say, okay, I give my teens so much respect and freedom, but now they're abusing it by, if I say show up at home at don't be late, get home at 10 o'clock, and they disobey that, and they come up at 10:30 or 11, then the parents totally change their approach to become harder, to get into an argument, or you didn't respect my command, and they get back to that dictatorial space again. Do you see what I'm saying? So the issue right now is the parents, because they can't sustain something. They can't sustain that having respect and then giving freedom. Then the old programming in them, it kicks back that, oh, when my parents said be home at 8 o'clock, I made sure that I was home at 8. And that old programming kicks in again, and then they cut back from the kids' freedom.
Yes, I agree with that. There's some parents who are like that, and those parents normally like they had strict parents themselves. So yes, it's like they give a lot of freedom and then they cut back. But then also there are different types of adult and teen relationship that some parents have that I've noticed particularly, like um is that it's the opposite way. The children are not respecting the parents at all.
Mhm.
Like I've went to, like, it's been instances when I went to, I don't know, Target or Walmart, and there was this like little 5-year-old kid just like yelling at their parent and getting their way eventually, because like the parent has no other choice. They've already given so much freedom to that child, and if they don't give it anymore, then the child is going to yell at them, or they're going to think that, like, oh, the world is ending. So that's also another issue that I wanted you to address, Sudi. What do you think about that? What do you think that like children should do, or how the parents should like gradually come to that mutual respect and balance if that goes the other way?
Mhm. See, when you see a 5-year-old is being disrespectful, that that didn't happen right there. You are noticing a 5 years behind programming and the shortcoming from a parents who weren't um, who didn't who didn't know what to do, and they went a wrong way. So again, from my side, I wouldn't say that is a child's fault. I would say let's backtrack and see from the beginning of time when the kid is 2 year old, when they're trying to find themselves up. From that point, how were you acting? How were you dealing with this kid? Somehow the parents had thought that that child that you're not going to get your way or what you want with kindness, with being respectful. And this is the way. If you yell and scream, this is the way you will get what you need. Again, it's not the child's fault. It's coming from a parents, from the backup that they, for instance, let's go back. Like when a 2-year-old is asking for something, if a parent is a someone who is really aware or awakened, is going to use a tool to give that child love or attention instead of giving it a candy. The parents would distract the child from, because when a 2-year-old wants candy, the kid is looking for the taste, for the sugar, from the energy kick up, and is looking as a gift, something that I'm getting, right? But before that, there is some other programming that has built up to that point. Why would a child ask for candy if the candy was never introduced to a child? And how is that child now craving for the sugar kick up? So that's all coming from some parents who are not totally aware about that. But again, let's say the kid is asking for a candy. If you can deprogram what you have programmed already till now and pick up the child and give it love, and then say, for instance, like go somewhere, instead of getting the candy, be fully attentive and spend some quality time, or bring a toys that you sit down and play with the child, or take them to the park. Eventually you can break down that program. But remember, every human being on this planet, it wants love and attention. If the love and attention is not there, you'd use many different type of behaviors, like wrong or bad behavior, to get that love. It could be totally negative.
Mhm. Yes, yes, I agree with that. Thank you, Sudi.
Mhm.
So, I I really agree to that, that like the children need to actually feel that love from the parent and not from objects, in order to like feel their parents being next to them and not the objects that they purchased for the kid. And that really influences how the child's upbringing and growth processes them. So yes, I really agree with that. Um, any other subjects that you would like to
Yeah, I
discuss?
would talk about that. But if you can also check for see what are people are in the comments. What are they asking? What
Oh,
do
yeah,
they
sure,
need?
sure.
Thanks, honey.
Let's see.
Yeah,
So,
while I get into the next part. So here's the deal, guys. Remember, I always talk about this. You don't really have to be educated in order to know how to raise a child. From my point of view, I believe if you are aware, meaning you find out who you are, and you're not into you learned about all your childhood traumas, and you know exactly what's going on, what apps are running in your mind, and you have worked on that. That's all you need to have. You don't need a separate education how to raise a child. What do I mean by that? Imagine, like at my point, if I'm gonna have a child, which I can't, of course, is way past there. But if I have a child today from where I am, from my higher consciousness, and then all these things, I would raise a child very different than if I would have had a child 30 years ago. Okay, so basically, if I have a child today, because I know the the calmness, the inner peace, everything is within me, and I worked on my ego mind enough to be able to recognize the ego mind and know when to stop it and when to use it. And I got to the point that I don't really need to get anything from outside, from the material world. So today, when I raise a child, it would come totally with love and compassion. The energy of love and the calmness that's within me will be transferred to the kid and to the whole house, right? That calmness and that joy and that peace, that's the energy that I'm emanating out there. So this energy out there, the child is receiving this energy, and the child automatically become more in peace and harmony and joy. And every action that I do, this action is coming from giving the child a teaching. I don't mean to lecture a child, but I mean by me being fully present for a minute or two, or maybe even longer, and just watch my child follow every steps, or look at him, look directly into the eyes. I'm teaching the child that you are being seen, you are being heard. So by sitting with a child for 30 minutes or 40 minutes and totally engaging in that game with the child, not with TV or another noise in the background, or being on your phone and watch the kid. If you're fully present, you're teaching the child that I'm important. I am being seen and I'm being heard. So this is all start from the very, very beginning. And I guarantee you, if you would fully be present and you're calm and you have this joy and inner peace, and if you're coming from there, you're not going to have a child that is going to disrespect you or yell at you. You see what I'm saying?
yes, yes, I see. Thank you so much. And also, we have two questions that people in the comments asked us. The first question is, what's the most important thing for great relationship with your parents?
What's the most important thing in the okay
Have a great
the,
relationship with your parents.
okay, if you want to have a good relationship with your parents, now, by knowing what you know today, that you guys are two different generations, the first step is understanding and accepting that, oh, my parents are an older generation. In their generation, they didn't have a voice. In their generation, they grew up with parents who were using dictatorship. You do what I say. So understanding that this is their frame, understanding that, and you're different, now you have to come to a common ground in between, right? So when your parents are saying, oh, when I was a kid, if my dad said 8 o'clock, you have to be home no later than 8 o'clock, don't get into an argument and don't make fun of them. That's the respect part, you know. Oh, so you're an old generation, blah, blah, blah. Look at the kids. Don't take them into comparison or anything like that. But when you respond calmly and with respect, and you say, oh, I know that, Dad, I really understand. I see where you're coming from. But can you also see my side? Can you see that time has changed and the teaching has changed too? So how could we, Dad, come to a middle ground that is is not so tight and strict at your time, but is not like totally no rules and so open in the air from our generation? And then you get him by saying that you understand the differences, you giving them the challenge again. How can we do this? Do you think that will work, Tara, or not?
Yes, I absolutely. That's a great suggestion. I'm Viviler at how I didn't think of that. It's really um a really good approach to like challenge someone because they think about it. It's like asking them a question, letting them answer rather than telling them what to do, and especially parents who come from the last generation who have had that relationship with their own parents who were constantly telling them what to do. They like if their children tell them what to do, they're not going to be able to accept it that
Yes,
easily.
but
Like,
you're throwing it back at them. So let's
yes,
say,
exactly. And that's
yeah.
what the
So
beauty
what
of the
you do, instead
question
of
is.
arguing, you just say, you hold yourself back, don't argue with them, and say, you become the adult at this
Yeah.
situation. I see that we're having an issue here. What would be the best approach to go about this? And then you totally shock them. They're like, oh, who am I dealing with here? You throw it back at them. That's what I do in coaching. That's what coaching is about. When someone comes to me with an issue or dilemma, I don't give them I think you should do this. I turn the question around. What do you think you should do about this? What would be the best approach to do? And I make them think. But in this situation, now that you guys know you are more advanced, in a way, I should say, you have to become the parents. I don't mean to parent them, but what I mean is, oh, I'm coming from a more advanced, so I have more knowledge and more capability. If I can understand my parents, they would be able to understand me.
Yes, yes. That's a great suggestion. I'm gonna use it from now on. So we have another question actually, and the question, I believe it was, how do you fix broken relationships with your parents?
Okay. How do we fix for the person who's asking what is the topic? Our topic, love, is about parenting and teenagers and how teens view their relationship with the parents and where do they think that the parents went wrong. That's the topic. Anyhow, Okay, if you're, let me backtrack here. First, change the word broken. How can I fix a broken relationship with my parents? Remember from my past teaching, every word has its own energy. Now, in this sentence, how can I fix? Fix is a problem, which is a negative energy. Broken is the second word that has a negative energy. If you wanted to reword your sentence to a positive, how would you change that and make it a higher vibrational energy?
I think it could be, how would I not fix, but rather how would
Karajan, I have a
yes.
problem with your mic, honey. There's an
Oh,
echo with your mic.
oh, is there? Oh, sorry. Do you want me to get out of the live and then join again?
I think that's our only option. If you can fix it, yeah.
No, I think it's because someone called me. I'll join.
Okay, all right. So let me answer that question. Okay. So first of all, for the questionnaire, the one who's asking the question is coming from a negative way. There's a problem. This relationship is broken. Let's first change it to a positive sentence. Okay. All right. So how can we think for a minute, guys? I want all of you to think about this right now. How could you change this? We have an issue again, honey. With how can we change this in a positive way? Harajan, see if you can wear headset.
Is this better?
Talk now.
Is this better? Can you hear me? Okay.
It's better. Yes.
All right.
Okay. So the positive question will be, how could I enhance and better my relationship with my parents? See, now is changing from negative to positive. Now, you also want to ask this question from your mind. And you always ask a positive question from your mind. The question that you ask, how come I have such an amazing, warm, healthy relationship with my parents?
Yes.
Now, the mind is always looking for the question that you're asking. And remember, in your subconscious mind, you have all the answers. So you're asking, I am so blessed. How come my relationship is so harmonious and so joyful with my parents? How did I get so lucky to have such an amazing parents? What happened here, guys? You totally changing the vibration and energy. And if you ask your mind literally 10 times, you would say, anytime you remember, you keep asking. Imagine like outside, you just had something is going on and your parents are walking around behind your door. You shut down your door, and last night there is a leftover of an argument or something. Instead of letting your mind to take you there, instead keep coming to your awareness and ask yourself, how did I become so lucky to have such an amazing, harmonious relationship with my parents? By keep asking this question, you're forcing your own brain to come up with a solution. Okay, that's number one. Now, the relationship is not going so well. The first step is for you to sit down with yourself and say, what do you want from your parents? Once you sit in there and see what are the requirements for you to be happy, to be in a harmonious relationship with your parents, you need to find this out. But this might take a little time. Maybe you come up with, I want to have more respect. I want to have more freedom. I want to have blah, 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 whatever it is. First, you need to find out what it is that you want from your parents. Then you have to give the same thing that you want to your parents. You got to give that. So you probably heard me before. I always say, whatever you're looking for out there, start being it or start giving it out, right?
Yeah.
So you want respect, you got to start giving more respect. You want freedom, you got to give your parents more freedom. Actually, if it comes to freedom, you might somehow unknowingly taking your parents' freedom too. So when you sit down and you say, how am I taking my parents' freedom? Maybe I'm taking their time. Maybe I'm taking from, so your parents gave up a lot. They totally changed their lives to be a parent. They don't have their own time. They can't just take and go and do whatever they want, right? Then you come back to your parents as an adult, as the awareness that you are right now. In a calm peace, you sit down and you tell them, I was feeling hurt, or I felt like I didn't have enough freedom. But then when I thought about it more, I realized that how much of your freedom I have taken away. You don't make it about you, you're making it about them. See? So when you do this, all of a sudden they get shocked. Oh, so we're not into an argument anymore. My kid is finally understanding me. So this is what you say. I realized how great you were, how much you give up, how much you sacrifice for me, how much of your freedom I have taken away from you. You're giving them, I can see you, I appreciate you. Because a lot of arguments is about, no matter what I do, no one appreciates me. So if you start to appreciate your parents, you're gonna get a lot more from them. Keep doing it. Your mom is making you rice or whatever. Oh, thank you, mom. This is great, great food. This is great. I'm sure you spend a lot of time making this meal. I see you, I hear you, I appreciate you. I'm sure you could have used that time doing other things. I'm so grateful that you are my mother. The more compliment, the more you show that you appreciate every little thing, the happier they become, and see how much they're gonna give you.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that. So, whatever, again, like as Sudi Jun said, whatever you want to get from your parent, even not your parent, anyone else, you have to give it to them first. Normally, relationships, I actually had the same exact topic conversation last night with someone. Relationships, human relationships are about give and take. Life is about give and take. So whatever you want your parents to feel about you, to say about you, to give you, you have to first give to them. You want them to give you love, you have to give them love. You want them to show you appreciation, you have to show them appreciation. And if you want them to give you respect, you also have to respect them. And that creates a really balanced, really harmonious, and a really, really good relationship with your parent and with anyone else if you just hold that give and take concept.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, thank you so much. And also, someone else had another question. Why some people don't accept much love? So as Sudi Jun and I said right now, so if you want to for someone to actually give you love, you have to give them love. But why they don't accept love? Sudi Jun, do you want to give us an opinion on this?
Sure. Receiving is a major issue for us human. And I think I talked about this in one of my recent lives. I actually talked about it a few times, that it took me many years to realize that I'm not able to receive. And I
Yeah.
said that, if you guys remember, I said, if somebody said, oh, that's a beautiful dress, I said, oh, it's an old dress. If someone said, oh, your hair looks so beautiful, you got amazing hair, yeah, but it tangled, I would have just randomly find out things to not receive the gift that was coming to me, till I learned about this, and it came to my attention that I have problem receiving. So in my book, Awakening Not Allowed, I talk about this. I said some of us are just a giver. I was a giver all my life, and I got very complimented about it, and I thought that's a great thing. So I'm such a giver. And then when I awakened, I realized everything in life is about balance. If you're giving, but you're lacking in receiving, that's against the law of balance. So you also have to teach yourself to become a good receiver. And then now if somebody comes and say, bring me something, even if like the old me, someone would say, I brought you this. Oh, no, thank you. I don't eat walnuts. I don't do that anymore. I'll take it. I said, thank you so much. That's so thoughtful of you to bring me walnuts, or blah, blah, blah. So I balance that yin and yang part of giving and receiving. Now, when it comes to love, why some people can receive love, the part of receiving love comes back to loving ourselves and be deserving of love. If I can't receive love, somehow in my subconscious mind, one of the apps that is very highlighted brightly, it's saying, but you don't deserve it. Who are you? Who do you think you are that you deserve to receive love? So that's the app. Therefore, when someone wants to give me love, subconsciously that app is running and I push it away. And we do
Yeah.
that very often in our relationship. We get into this amazing relationship, but the voice in our head and the app in our subconscious mind keeps saying, who are you to have it? You're not deserving to have an amazing, healthy relationship. You're not deserving. That app keep running, and then finally we sabotage the relationship. We're not aware why, if our partner tells us, make sure that we're going to this party at 7 o'clock, you're not aware what happens, that in a way you forget, or you said, let me stop by and get a glass of wine, or to have, these are all subconscious programming that we're not aware, but we're operating. So we get late at 7 o'clock, and then a fight and an argument and blah blah blah, because we're not conscious, and we don't know that, oh, back up, back up, back up, back up. What app is running right now? And that's the app on worthiness, not deserving. That's where it's coming from. I can receive love.
Yes, yes. And I feel like that itself comes back to the confidence and self-confidence, having confidence in yourself, loving yourself, and actually, the deserving of love. In order to feel like you deserve love, you need to love yourself first, and you need to have enough confidence in yourself in order to receive love and also give love. So, someone who can't receive love, you can always help them to become more confident in themselves and teach them how to love themselves first before they can actually accept the love you're giving them. So that's the answer to another question. Let's see if we have any other ones.
Yes, we do, Tara. You might want to scroll down. I see a couple of questions passing.
Yes. Um, GT is GUITI. I did not find your question, so if you could send us it again in the comments. There's another one by Parisa. If someone says that my energy changed about you, what should I do? Do I still send love and try making it better and keep it? So I
If
get
someone
I
says,
yes.
mhm.
Go ahead, Sweet.
Yeah, if someone says that my energy, I think you meant my feeling. My feeling has changed about you. I used to love you, but I don't love you, or maybe I don't love you as much. And what do you do in this case? Um, Remember that it's not about what anybody else do. That's none of our business of how other people behave. It's all about me, right? So when someone is telling me that my feeling has changed and I don't love you, or I don't care about you as much as I did before, yes, you're still giving love and sending love to that person. But then, if the universe is a mirror and is a reflection of my inner side and the apps in my mind, then I come back and I say, what is this story is about to learn? What is this story teaching me? So then I come to myself and I say, I love you, but I don't love you, and I don't care about you like I did. This seems to me is coming from the root cause, from abandonment issue.
Mhm.
So when in my childhood I was abandoned, whether I lost a parent, or I don't know, my mom was working all day, my parents weren't, I was raised with nanny, or I was raised with grandmother. These are all indication of abandonment issue for my subconscious mind, right? So if that's
Yes.
the case, then abandonment issue leads to codependency. Abandonment issue, codependency. Now I want to be very needy and hold on to whoever is in my life. I become fearful of losing that person. I become really attached. And by doing that, this is the answer for this person who's asking. This is direct message that I'm downloading for you. It could apply to everybody, but this is specifically for the questionnaire here. Now, because you're unaware of how attached you are, the energy that you're sending out is the energy of neediness, and it's pushing that person away. Oh, needy, needy. Oh, she's like, leave me alone. You're so needy. That's what getting the person to say, I don't love and care for you as much.
Yeah.
When someone brings this to your attention, now you need to go back, leave that person alone, love them even more, and then come back. You say thank you to that character. Thank you for coming in my story to tell me where I need to heal. And then you go back to step back to codependency, step back to abandonment issue. And then in that area, you need to heal that. So if you're abandoned, you have abandonment issue, what's happening? All those acts of lack of self-love, unworthiness, undeserving, all of those acts are opening up.
Mhm.
So you need to heal that by knowing who you really are, by loving yourself, by knowing and understanding that you're deserving. But if you backtrack and go back to the abandonment issue and you're operating from ego mind, that would be a long, long, long process for you to heal, because the
Yes.
mind and ego constantly will say, oh, no, that's not true. Oh, you're not loving. Oh, it's a constant interfere in this process. So when you go back to abandonment, you have to come from the soul, which is the whole understanding, to know that you're not the mind and you're not the ego.
Yes, yes, it's 100% true. So when you have that issue, when you feel like the love that you want to receive is more than the love that you're willing to give, again, you have to focus on yourself first, because like it's not that other person's problem that they can't give you what you want, because you have to focus on yourself, you have to love yourself, you have to give yourself that love and get over that abandonment issue. Then you would be able to hold that balance again, that love and relationship, and have a successful relationship, no matter if it's parent teenager or just relationship. So yes, thank you, Sudijun, so much. Greety, I actually didn't, I think I went out of the live and she sent a long message. I couldn't find her question. So, Sudijun, I I guess we could, Greety Jun, if you wanted to, you can send us a direct message because I don't have your comment over here. Um, might be because I went out of the live, and so far we don't have any other questions.
Okay, I'm
Um,
sorry, Tarajan, hold on one second.
yes.
I'm reading the collective energy right now for
Mm-hmm.
everyone. And what is very highlighted is the energy of um, it's not fair. This is what I'm. This is what I'm getting. This is what I'm hearing. It's
Yes.
not fair. Okay, and this is for from everyone. When I say I'm reading collective energy, that means it's so many of you who are present here are coming or having this energy that it becomes totally huge. So it's not fair. What are you guys saying? It's not fair is basically you guys are not the dominant energy, right? And someone or a lot of people or a lot of event has happened to you that it shouldn't have happened the way it happened, and it's not fair. So this is what I'm getting. Now stay with me. This is very important because you guys really have to hear me out. This is a victim energy. It's a low energy. It's not happy and accepting what it is. This is a negative, low vibration energy. I want you all to come to this awareness, because if this is coming to my awareness, guys, and in my awareness, I'm healing this and I'm releasing this, every other person will be healed from this. Okay? So, since we are collectively tune in, bring in our energy in the universe, and we're not separate. So if I can come to this awareness and I can heal this, then everybody else will be healed. Okay? So be responsible, every single one, to come to this state. You want to move, you want to change. This is not a must or have, but this is a choice. You can choose to move from the energy of low vibrational victim energy to becoming a dominant energy. What I mean by dominant energy is, when I walk somewhere, guys, or wherever I go, or whoever I interact with, since I am the dominant energy, I can affect that area, the mood, the people, right? And people are either have dominant energy, or on the contrary, they are follower. Everything affects them. So if you choose to change this from being a follower, whatever you say, oh, it happened to me, this victim, oh, I don't like it, why this and why that. If you want to choose to switch and become a dominant energy, then you have to take full responsibility. And taking full responsibilities and being fully responsible, it's not easy for most of us. We try to avoid being responsible. Let's go back to last week live about resistance, where I told you guys, I said the reason you're not doing things and you're resisting it is because your mind becomes overwhelmed. This is a big task. This is difficult. So your mind doesn't want to go with it, right? So bring this back again to your awareness. How do I feel about responsibility? Do I want to become responsible to be a dominant energy, to affect the planet in not dominating, but in a way that when I'm becoming from that part, I am coming from a higher vibration of love, compassion, and that's where I'm becoming dominant. So wherever I go, or whoever I act with, I'm coming from love and joy. I'm giving them that love and joy and compassion, and they become healed and feel good in my presence. That's what I mean. Okay?
Yes. Um, I I really believe that that's a really good way to approach it. But I also had a question about that. So, you said that a lot of us like it feels unfair sometimes, and that's a negative energy. That's something that if you use that to approach a situation, you're not going to be able to actually absorb positive energy and get over that problem. But then there is an issue with with a lot of people these days, is that we I personally, this is actually a personal thing for me as well. We try to overcome it. We give ourselves positivity. We give the world positivity. But then when an issue comes up, when something comes up, we go back to that. And we bring that up. It's unfair. What do I do? Like, it's not supposed to be like this. So what do you suggest for that, Sulijun? How do we maintain that positivity? How do we overcome that feeling of that, oh, it's so unfair to me, what's happening? How do we maintain ourselves to be positive and not go back to that low negative energy of feeling unfairness?
Hmm. That's a beautiful question, Tarajan. Thank you for
Thank
bringing
you.
it to our attention. That was very good. Um, First, I'm going to keep on repeating this Torah till it sinks for everyone. Maybe this should become my trademark. First step is awareness, and in awareness, everything dissolves. And when I say dissolve, meaning it's the energy from a stagnation change into circulation and it moves up. So you resolve it, right? So first step, awareness. That I know that this energy of being unfair, or the world is not being fair, it's a negative energy. The second step is that you have to be aware that this is not something permanent, right? So for instance, you know that if you want to have a good body, one of the requirements is you have to exercise. So you don't exercise one day and sit back and say, great, I sustain that for the rest of my life. I'm just having an amazing body. You are intelligent enough to know that in order to have a nice body, you got to show up every day or at least few times a week, right? Because it's not something that you do once and is going to be sustainable over there. Knowing this now is like thinking your imagination. You know how imaginative I am. Think in your imagination that I give you a perfume, and in this perfume is the awareness that reminds you that no matter what the situation, you have to come from a dominant energy, that you are creating your reality. So every time some situation happen, before you jump in and say, oh, let your ego mind take over, remember this spray, a beautiful, I can even see the jar, it's glass, it has this golden thing around it, and I spray myself. One spray, it comes to my awareness, oh, you are the dominant energy. What happens if each time you remind yourself, now put this here, tattoo it here on your forehead. Every time you come and look at yourself in a mirror, the tattoo says, you are the dominant energy. You are creating your world. There's nothing that is unfair. If something comes up as unfair, then you go back to yourself and say, what did I create? Oh, maybe I didn't want to do this. Let me change the script. Let me change the movie from here. I can always go back and change the movie from a victim to a hero, right? And I don't know if you watched my last week live about,
Yeah.
yeah, you did? Okay. Remember at that point, I said in every story, there is a villain. And the reason the villain is there is because you have to interact with that to help you build up more muscles, and then the hero within you will show up, right? So bring that back here right now, that knowledge, bring it back here. And then you come to to yourself and say, huh, there are many evils out there or character that I have built, that these characters are coming to test me out constantly to see, am I going to become a victim or am I going to come from my dominant energy? And these characters should come. And the more of these characters are coming, fabulous. The more I'm strengthening my muscles by becoming the hero that I am.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sujan. Thank you. That helps
So
a
don't
lot.
worry, don't forget about this spray, guys. This spray could
Yes.
be confidence spray, could be like the hero spray, anything that you think you have issues with.
Awareness in general. So yes, I actually really, that's really, really beautiful. Thank you, Sujan. Like, um, I I always thought that in order to get over a situation or something that affects you in a negative way, you have to forget it. But
Yeah.
it's really important that you bring it up and you learn from it and you make yourself stronger from it. And that what you said right now reminds me of that and makes me feel a lot more stronger than I was before. That I have come to experience and I learn from those experiences to this day, and that's really, really, really beautiful, really helps with growth, I feel like. So I will use that more often. Thank you. Here's my spray.
Okay. And
Thank
by
you
the
so
way,
much.
I see a question from M. Mahla 1111. It's important thing, but my ego feels that some foolish. I want to make maybe a correction here, love. Your ego is not foolish. Actually, your ego is very sharp, smart, and intelligent. And the ego that is so sharp and smart is taking you through all these scenarios that you realize how smart and sharp your ego is. So, what I want to ask you guys here, please pay attention. Don't use your ego for your shortcoming either. Take responsibility of improving yourself in every steps of the day, because so often whenever something goes well, you're like, oh, it must be God did it. Whenever something goes wrong, is the ego did it. So where are you in between? You never exist, because if it's bad, you throw it at your ego. If it's good, you don't take it, you don't receive it. It's God or it's angels or blah blah blah. So please be mindful of that, and don't think that the ego is smart and intelligent. The ego is actually the part that comes and take over your mind, and it creates all these movies, and it goes years, and you could become 60, 70, 80 years old and not realize that, oh my God, I didn't exist all these years if there was an ego. So the ego is extremely sharp. Okay, so don't get tricked by that. Okay, guys, give you a message. Okay, so everybody, we're going to end this live. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Tara John. It's great to
Thank
have you.
you. Thank you.
And
I'm glad
yes, and I'm
to be
going, what
here.
are you doing for Christmas? Because I'm going live on Christmas Day.
Oh, nice. I'm just gonna be at home, Corona, and we're gonna open gifts. So I'm excited for that. We all put our gifts on a table and it's nicely, neatly wrapped. And I am excited for that.
Fantastic. Anyhow, I told everyone, because of COVID, and since a lot of us are living alone, some people might feel left out. I'm going to do live for Christmas so we can join. And I would also do a reading for people
Mhm.
in a deep level, like why am I here? Why am I really here? What is my soul path? So Christmas Day, 25th. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Much love and joy. Thank you,
Thank you,
Khalajun.
Sudi. Thank
Bye
you
bye
so much,
now.
everyone. Don't forget to come Christmas Day and watch Sudi June's live. Okay?
Yes, yes. Thank you. And also, guys, Tara is the one who's sharing our stories on my English Instagram. So Tara and Sahar were behind the scene of my Instagram, and I want to thank you, first of all, Sahar and Tara, to be with me and help us to have
Thank
a
you.
better channel. Thank you. Bye bye,
Thank you so
everybody.
much. Bye, Sudi June. Bye,
Bye,
everyone. Have a
honey.
great, wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you, love.